Is the grave of Carl Pruitt cursed? Perhaps, but maybe not. The story of the curse of Carl Pruitt's grave goes back to an afternoon in 1938 in Pulaski County, Kentucky. Pruitt returned home after a day of work and expected to find his wife in the kitchen. Instead, he found her in a bedroom with another man. Enraged, Pruitt grabbed a chain and started to strangle her, while her lover used the opportunity to flee the scene. After she was dead, Pruitt committed suicide. Pruitt's wife's family refused to forgive Pruitt, so he was buried in a different cemetery in a different town. Visitors to the cemetery that came across Pruitt's grave noticed something odd going on. There was some discoloration that looked like circles, and then they started to link together, making it look like there was a chain on the tombstone. The odd discoloration drew the attention of some people, including a young group of boys who rode their bikes over to the cemetery about a month after the chain had formed. To impress his friends, one boy threw a rock at the tombstone, which chipped it. As the boy rode home, there was a freak accident, and the chain came off of his bike and wrapped around his neck, strangling him to death. The boy's mother was obviously devastated and decided to take it out on the tombstone. She took an axe and whacked at it a number of times. The next day, she was hanging up laundry when the clothesline somehow wrapped around her neck and strangled her. When her death was investigated, the axe was found with rock dust on it, and it was dented. But Pruitt's tombstone remained intact. A short time later, a farmer was riding in a horse-drawn cart with his family past the cemetery. For some foolish reason, he decided to fire his pistol at Pruitt's tombstone. The gunfire spooked the horses, causing them to speed up. The farmer's family jumped from the wagon, but the farmer stayed on until he was thrown from the carriage and a rein wrapped around his neck, strangling him. Next, two policemen who were convinced the curse was nonsense went to the cemetery and took pictures of themselves in the area of Pruitt's grave. As they drove away, a bright light started following them, and they tried to speed away. This led them to driving off the road into a fence, and the officer in the passenger seat was thrown from the car, but survived. His partner, on the other hand, had been nearly decapitated by a chain between the two fence posts. By the time the 1940s rolled around, most people were staying away from the cemetery out of fear of losing their own life. But not everyone did. One man went into the cemetery and started to smash the tombstone with a hammer. People could hear the hammer bashing against the tombstone, and then that was replaced by blood-curdling screams. The townspeople investigated the cemetery, and they found the man dead at the gates. Apparently, he was frightened by something and ran away. As he got to the exit, the chain used to lock the gates somehow, can you guess what happened? Yes, somehow wrapped around his neck, and guess what else happened? Yes, it strangled him to death. After that death, bodies were exhumed from the cemetery, and a stripping company removed all the markers, including Pruitt's wrathful tombstone. Of course, I don't know what happened to the workers for the stripping company, well. So, was this the case of mere coincidences of freakish deaths? Or was, indeed, the grave of Carl Pruitt cursed? Perhaps. but maybe not.